Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Haunted Mansion.
This week on the show, we go to Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, California for their Taste of Boysenberry Festival food tasting event. You're listening to a bonus episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast.
Prepare yourselves for an unforgettable encounter.
Hi, and welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your park map, Chiro, and hop in line with us as we take you on a coast-to-coast adventure through the world of theme parks, haunts, conventions, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Gabe.
And I'm the other host, Nikki.
And we are
The Theme Park Duo.
So we have a fun bonus episode for you today where we are going to be going to Taste of Boysenberry Festival at Knott's Berry Farm.
Yes, so excited.
We are beyond excited. So currently we are on location in our hotel room. This is the morning of the event, so we are very much ready to go. We had some breakfast here that kind of set the tone for the day, if you will.
Yeah, we had boysenberry pancakes. We had boysenberry mimosa, which was good, but you have to, like, pro tip, you have to stir the boysenberry syrup to mix it with the champagne. Otherwise, it just sits at the bottom and you're just drinking normal champagne.
Well, it has like that slight hint of boysenberry, but when it's fully mixed, it is much more boysenberry centric.
Yes.
Which is good. I actually really enjoyed it. And then we had the boysenberry pancakes, which was just the really thick, fluffy pancakes with boysenberry syrup and preserves all over it.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff. So we had a good beginning to the day. Now we're really excited about getting back into the park and trying some of the food. Because as usual, there's going to be a lot of really unique foods to eat and fun drinks to be had.
Yes.
So I imagine today is going to be a day full of eating and drinking.
What diet?
What diet?
No. Full disclosure, Gabe and I are actively trying to lose weight, but not today.
We're both down, by the way. We're
are.
doing very well.
Yeah.
but as of yesterday at 10, I said, screw the diet, and I went to 7-Eleven and got a whole bunch of stuff.
Pause.
Yeah, we're putting pause on that diet.
We have to enjoy today. It's very rare that we have days like this.
Yes. So we hope that you guys enjoy our journey to Taste of Boysenberry Festival at Knott's Berry Farm. Hopefully we're going to bring you some hints and tips as well as what foods we think are worth it and what aren't worth it for the tasting card, in hopes that that'll make your trip a little bit easier and a little bit more fun, so you're not stressed out and trying to read the billion options on your landing.
It's overwhelming.
It could be very overwhelming.
We're going to tell you what to focus on, though.
Yeah, we'll tell you what we think is good and what we had and what we think you should skip on. We're pretty honest when it comes to that kind of stuff. But hopefully you will enjoy it. And if you are, make sure you head on over to iTunes and leave us ratings and review. It always helps us out and makes us easier to find so everyone can enjoy us like you are right now. With all that being said, the next time you hear us, we're going to be inside the park enjoying some boysenberry goodness.
Yes, let's go eat.
So we're actually in the park now. We've had some things to eat, and now we have some things to say.
Yeah.
Because it's a podcast.
Yeah, we're going to rate the food we've eaten out of 10 boysenberries.
Yeah, so obviously 10 being the best that the food can be, 1 being the worst it could possibly be.
Yes.
So we're going to be rating all the food we have had so far and in the future for everything else we get. So the first thing that I believe we got, let me look at this dictionary of a list.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. It's overwhelming. I get overwhelmed every time I come here.
We got the boysenberry brisket tater tots topped with crispy jalapeno chips and boysenberry aioli sauce. For me, this was like a solid 8 or 9 boysenberries out of 10.
Yeah, I would say, like, it's good, but I'm not like a brisket person. So
you don't eat red meat.
I don't eat red meat. I did today. I tried it, but it was good. I'd say like 6 or 7.
Yeah. So from
presentation, like 4. Ours
it was like the
particularly.
first one of the day though.
Yeah,
so I give them a total break.
Yeah, but like our friends got it later, and it was much prettier. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But from a non-meat eater, what did you say?
7.
7. From a meat eater, somebody who likes red meat, things like that, I gave it a solid 8 or 9. I thought that it was really well done. As usual, we usually say that that fry co-location usually has a tater tot dish, and most of the time the tater tot dishes are really good.
And also, it wins in like boysenberry inclusivity.
Yes.
Yeah, because
yes.
it was in the aioli and it was also in the meat, right?
Yeah, it was. So
Yeah.
you get two different versions of boysenberry mixing in with your food.
And that's
which I
why
think
we're
is,
here.
That is an important part of that rating system because,
Yeah.
We actually already had a previous discussion saying like, well, we don't want to get food where the boysenberry is only in
In the
only
sauce,
in
like a
the
side
ketchup or a side
yeah.
or something. Want something kind of mixed in.
Yeah.
Which is pretty important to at least me when I'm choosing my dishes.
Yeah, you're here
Like,
for a boysenberry event. Get boysenberry stuff.
I don't want a sausage with boysenberry ketchup only. I want boysenberry in the sausage and things like that. So, but yeah, no, the tater tots are crispy and savory. You got the meat, which is slightly sweet with that barbecue boysenberry flavor. And then you have the heat from the jalapenos, which isn't overbearing whatsoever.
It's mild. It's nice.
It's very mild,
Yeah.
but it's a nice added kind of experience with the sweetness and savory crispiness of the rest of the dish.
Exactly.
So really, really like those. Then the next stuff we had, I
Bow.
believe, was the pork Bow buns with boysenberry kimchi. Now
Yeah.
these are
And I
not
think there's
traditional
also-
whatsoever.
There was also boysenberry like in the pork because it looked purple on the inside.
Yeah, so let me see. It says pork Bow buns with boysenberry kimchi and non-pla.
Yeah, but there, like the inside of the bow was purple, so I think there was also some boysenberry in
Probably.
there too.
Probably.
But so I say in boysenberry inclusivity, it gets an A+. And like you said before, they're not traditional bow buns. They look deep fried.
Yeah, they look deep fried. They're
like,
not steamed.
They have like a hard shell on the outside that's like dark brown, like not like burnt, but you know what I mean.
Crispy, golden brown.
Golden brown. Which is not traditional. But once we got over the shock of that, it was pretty
really
good.
good. It was
Yeah.
really, really good.
I'd give it like an 8.
There was and also, yeah, actually, I would agree. I would give it around an 8.
Yeah.
I think shock value alone from it not being what I was expecting. Thank you, sir, moving all the chairs very
Right.
loudly in the background. He's just doing his job. That's fine. I think the shock value of it not being a traditional bow bun kind of took me aback a bit at first.
Yeah.
But after actually trying it and eating it, it's actually quite good. So
Yeah.
if you're getting it and it's not what you're expecting, just give it a brief second.
Yeah, because the dough on the inside was still fluffy and soft.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
It was very, very nice because you got that tartness from the kimchi, which is pickled and aged, or what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's like it's old and it's been kind of going in its own juices.
There's so many things I could respond to that with that I won't.
It's like sauerkraut.
It's like yeah.
It's like that kind of a thing. Everybody knows what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You get the sourness from that, plus the savoriness and sweetness from the boysenberry and the crispness
is
of the Bow
fermented
bun.
the wrong?
Fermented. There you go.
Okay,
It's
okay.
fermented. Yes, that's the word. Thank you, smart one.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Actually, it was a surprise hit for me. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting to like it as much as I did.
Yeah, no, super good.
So, and then the next stuff that came up for us was the most recent thing. Is the stuff that's sitting on our table right now is the shrimp taco with the boysenberry salsa. And then I got the Philly cheese fries with boysenberry onion topping. So how was the taco? Because that was yours. Normally we shared to try to get like a good gauge of flavor and make things last a little bit longer. But
Yeah.
we got two different things.
Yeah,
this time.
no, it was a good solid taco. Like boysenberry inclusivity, like just like
it's the salsa.
it was the salsa, so it wasn't like the star of the dish.
It goes
but
away from our rules a bit.
It did, but it was a darn good salsa, and there was plenty on the taco, and it added a sweetness to the
hint of heat.
shrimp and the what was the coleslaw?
The coleslaw.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just shrimp and coleslaw and salsa. So it was super tasty. It was fresh, and it came with chips. So
That was probably the deciding factor.
So it
for
gets
you.
a no. I want to be honest. I want to be honest.
Give an honest review.
8 boysenberries.
Yeah,
It was
there you go.
solid. It was good. Would I recommend it to someone who's coming here to like taste all the boysenberry stuff? No, but
Probably
it was
not.
a good taco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you, you really like shrimp, you like chips, you like tacos, so it
Yeah.
kind of hit a lot of marks to you.
Yeah.
Which is the reason why we moved away from that rule of like, let's get something that has a lot of boysenberry.
Because I
inclusivity.
wanted to get something I would like also. Like I
Exactly.
like the other stuff, but this is my jam.
It's a non-scary choice.
yeah.
So the Philly cheesesteak fries, I'm probably going to give this thing probably 5 or 4 boysenberries.
Lowest so far.
It wasn't the best, but like we've said at every other tasting event here at Knott's, it isn't bad. None of the options have been bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think any option is bad. They're all ranging from good or okay to amazing. But with me, like, they had boysenberry onions, which I couldn't taste the boysenberry very much in those.
Yeah.
It was cooked in it, and they were sautéed, and they were browned, which looked good. It just, I didn't get the flavor. There was a good amount of fries, a ton of sauce, and not enough meat. And the meat really didn't look or taste like Philly cheesesteak type meat.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of dropped a few points for me there. But, I mean, if you liked cheese-soaked fries, then this might be the jam for you. But for me particularly, it isn't necessarily what I was looking for. So I would give it about a 4 or 5 boysenberries out of 10.
Got it.
So, but next up for us, I think we just want to get a boysenberry beer, cider, something of that sort.
I don't know. I keep on going to the champagne float with boysenberry ice cream in my head.
I'm not at dessert level yet.
I know, but that's also alcohol. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get a cider.
I don't know. I'm going with a boysenberry bite. I'm gonna get a mix of boysenberry cider and beer because that is delicious.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for more reviews of Taste of Boysenberry Festival.
So we are back, and our tummies are way fuller than before.
I feel like I'm moving about at 50% of the speed that I normally would be moving.
Yeah. And we still have tastings left.
Yeah, I think we have like 3 left.
No, we have 2.
We have 2 left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 each.
Yeah, 1 each. We've gone through a lot of stuff.
Yes. So
since the last time you heard from us.
Since we last spoke, we have had a boysenberry beer cider mix that filled me up a lot.
Yep.
And then from there we moved on, and we had elote and meatloaf.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then for dessert, you had the hint of lemon churro bites with boysenberry and white chocolate dipping sauce.
Yes.
And I had the boysenberry bread pudding with the creme anglaise, which
yeah, everything was good.
We'll
but
go through
one by
everything. So obviously, boysenberry beer, boysenberry cider mixed together, boysenberry bite,
snake bite,
yeah. Whatever you call it, amazing.
Yes.
So good. But we didn't waste the tasting on that. We paid for that.
Yeah, because
There's a size difference.
You get more.
Yeah, so if you pay for the drink outright, your cup is actually bigger than if you were to have used a sample tasting thing for it. So in previous years, I've seen the tasting cups for non-pandemic events, and they're actually smaller than the ones that I saw today.
Yeah.
So you actually get more in comparison to what they were using previously, but I still would rather pay for the drink, save my tastings for unique offerings, and get a bigger serving of my drink.
Yes, exactly.
So that's the thought process behind that. So if you guys are coming, use that kind of a thought process. It might help you out in the long run, saving up those tastings for some of the cooler food offers that they have here.
Yeah, because the last thing you want is, at the end of the day, to be like, oh man, I wanted to try this food thing, but I got a beer,
Yeah,
and so I mean, you could always buy the food thing, it's kind of, whatever, it evens out, but that's what we just like to do. We like to buy our drinks and use the tasting cards primarily just for food.
It feels like we're kind of extending those tastings a bit further by doing that instead of wasting it on a drink.
Exactly.
So after that, like Nikki said, we got the boysenberry elote and the boysenberry meatloaf with scalloped potatoes.
Yes.
So we'll start at the elote.
10 out of 10 boysenberries.
I feel like it goes without saying. We've talked about this on the show before. We've talked about it in every single write-up. The boysenberry elote is one of our favorite food offerings that Knott's has at any food event.
And this year was better because it was on the cob. The husk was still on, so you could kind of use the husk to hold on to the cob. It just seemed better, the amount of stuff on it. And there was crushed up boysenberry chips, and that was on top of it too. It was so good.
Overall, I feel like the size of that has increased over the years because normally it would really only be a half of a corn on the cob.
Half a cob or off the cob in a bowl, so probably about the same as half a cob. But this, it was a whole cob.
Yeah, it's a whole piece of corn with the husk at the bottom.
Yes.
Which is an incredible value for a single tasting. If you're comparing that to other offerings, even at other parks, I don't see any park. I mean, Disney does that, but that's not part of their tasting.
Yeah.
They sell the corn on the cob in DCA or Disneyland, but you have to buy it. It's not part of the tasting
And
thing.
it's not boysenberry.
And it's not boysenberry.
So...
And it's really good.
Yeah.
And then the boysenberry meatloaf with the scalloped potatoes was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I think the boysenberry meatloaf was the right amount of sweetness from the boysenberry without completely overpowering it.
Agree.
Scalloped potatoes are scalloped potatoes.
Yeah.
You could take or leave if you like them or not.
Meatloaf is kind of sweet anyway, because there's like
no,
ketchup.
it's not.
It is. It's.
What meatloaf are you eating?
Well,
Sugar meatloaf?
It's not sweet as in like sweet, but it's the same type of sweet that a boysenberry is. It's like
Dessert meatloaf.
no, it's like ketchup. Ketchup is sweet.
I guess so.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
I
but
mean
when you
ketchup
cook
sweet, not sugar sweet.
But when you cook the ketchup down, it's not as sweet.
Yeah, but a hint of sweetness. That's all I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
So I'm saying, you're rude. But I'm saying that the boysenberry...
You heard it here first. Nikki likes sugar loaves.
Oh my god, it's gross. I'm saying that the boysenberry...
Is that a bad thing?
What?
Sugar loaves? Or is that just gross?
When there's meat involved, it's gross.
When there's meat involved. Okay, continue.
All I wanted to say is that the boysenberry compliments the meatloaf. It was good. And now I'm leaving. Bye.
No, you're not. You're still here. You haven't left. Don't give me a death stare.
No, I left.
No, you didn't. You're literally still here. You have not gotten up and walked away.
I didn't leave physically. I was leaving emotionally. I wasn't talking anymore. But then you called me out and saying I was still sitting here. It didn't work. It went over your head.
So you went into your special place in your head.
Yeah.
Mentally and emotionally, you just weren't here. You were absent.
Yeah, because I was annoyed at you.
So you were a shell of yourself.
Yeah, I was off thinking about sugar loaves.
Sugar loaves.
Anyway, meatloaf, good. Let's move on. Then we had dessert after that.
Which both desserts were absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, meatloaf, I'd say 9 out of 10 boysenberries.
9 out of 10. I'd agree. So I was going to get the funnel fries, but then someone told us, like, no, they're good, but the hint of lemon churro bites are better. So that's what I went with, and oh my gosh, they were good. They were sugar-coated, like slightly lemony. Hint of lemon is exactly right, because it's like you taste it, but it's not overpowering. And then I don't like white chocolate, but it was a white chocolate boysenberry dipping sauce. And so I got mostly boysenberry sauce. I kind of didn't touch the white chocolate too much, but oh man, it was so good. I would give that like 9 boysenberries.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
It isn't necessarily my type of thing. I usually don't go for churros, but it was very, very good.
Well, bread pudding isn't my type of thing.
That's true. I mean, it's funny because we were talking about that as we were eating them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would give the churros a 7 out of 10 boysenberries, but I'm giving the bread pudding a 10 out of 10 boysenberries because...
See, I'd give the bread pudding like a 7 because I don't like mushy.
Well, the texture of the bread pudding itself wasn't like mush.
No,
it actually had a good firm texture.
It did.
But once the creme anglaise kind of sat in for a little bit, you're inevitably left with some mushy bread pudding. But for me, that doesn't matter because the sweetness from that creme anglaise really makes it. It tastes so good.
Yeah.
So those are the things we've had so far. We are in a food coma currently, trying to get back.
I'm like the opposite of hangry. I'm like full angry.
You're the opposite of hangry, so you're sadful.
I'm not sadful.
You're
and
sadful.
I'm not full happy. I'm like full annoyed. I'm annoyed that
I feel like this isn't the opposite of hangry.
No, you know what I am? I'm annoyed that I'm so full and I can't eat more things right now.
So you're... Okay, I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah.
You want to eat more, but you can't.
Like the high of eating is gone, and now I'm just left with like this melancholy.
What is it, drugs?
No, but there is.
You're literally you're describing a withdrawal symptom.
No, I'm not. Let me just.
I have the shakes and cold sweats.
No, let me just try to explain. You know how? Okay, well, I get hangry, so there's like a literal physical like drop in blood sugar or something that makes me like lash out irrationally when I'm hungry. That's a thing, and anyone who knows me knows this. But you eat and then you're fine, and then there's this kind of like rise in whatever chemicals make you kind of happy for a minute, and now that's gone. But I'm still full, but I want to eat more, and so I'm kind of just grumpy that I can't eat more. So that's where I am emotionally in my life right now.
So whenever Nikki's like super sassy on the show, it's more than likely she's hangry.
Or you're just really annoying.
Well, usually the mixture of those two things are pretty intense. I won't deny it. I'm pretty annoying sometimes. And the best part is that I know when I'm being annoying.
And you
and
do
I
it
just
more.
Push it as far as I can. Because I find it funny.
It's okay. I love you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I love you too.
I love you.
But yeah, no, we're having a blast so far. All the food has been pretty dang good. As usual, we've seen a lot of Knott's employees approach people and make sure that they're wearing their masks properly, but we have seen people not wearing it correct. I think at this point, it's an inevitability of going to an event like this. People are not going to listen to the rules 100%. People are just going to do what they want. And I think Nikki put it pretty poignantly when we were walking around and talking. She said, you have to plan for stupid.
Yeah, just avoid the stupid.
You have to avoid the stupid.
Yeah.
So the people who are not wearing their mask and
drinking
walking
their
around,
beer,
drinking their beer, walking around, no mask on, not being smart about it, following the rules that you pretty much are agreeing to by coming into the park in the first place. Just avoid those people as best as humanly possible. At least to our knowledge and what we've witnessed today, and this might be a little bit of helpful for anybody coming to the event, and a small hint tip, is it really seems like the busiest part of the park is
the front.
Well, like the front entrance, but
like not the front entrance, like the front of Ghost Town. So like where Fog Alley starts.
Yeah, so like at the very beginning of Main Street, but also Calico Square, like that right by the entrance of the saloon, where the little stage is, and the ice cream shop, all that stuff.
I think
it just feels like that is a junction point between going to Boardwalk and going into Ghost Town. It just feels like that is just a really big spot of a lot of people. So just try to avoid that as much as humanly possible. There are a few things that you have to go there for, but you can go to every single other part of the park without having to walk through there.
Yeah.
So try to avoid that area at all costs. We have.
Yeah.
We haven't walked through there once yet because we just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, just a bit too crowded.
Yeah, and it isn't like it's sardines over there or anything. It's just personally for us.
It's impossible to stay 6 feet away from it.
Yeah, it's impossible to stay 6 feet away, but for us, we don't feel comfortable walking through there. So it's a personal preference.
Yeah.
Like, you could walk through there, but we don't feel personally okay with doing that right now. So we're just actively trying to be extremely careful when we're at these events. Finding tables that, like I had said before, are really offset and away from, the walkways and stuff like that. So we're trying our best to avoid any and all situations that could be no bueno to our health.
Yeah. Right now we're over behind the carousel in Fiesta Village, completely isolated.
Right next to Soul Spin.
Yeah.
So that's where we currently are. We have a nice view of a Jaguar right there.
Yeah.
The nice Aztec building. So beautiful views here. But we are going to go off now and try to shove more food down our gullets. I don't know how well. I don't know how well we're going to do. We're going to have to walk around for a while and just kind of like shake off the fullness.
Yeah, digest a little, because I'm not ready to eat anything else.
We only have 2 tastings, and this place closes at 9, and it's only 3 o'clock as we're talking.
What
right
are we
now.
gonna do for the rest of the time?
I don't know. We're definitely not going to record a 6-hour podcast.
No, we should stop. We're rambling now. We should stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll come back after we've had more food.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, we're back. We've had some more food, some drinks, and experienced a few things, so let's jump into some of that there. The next piece of food that we actually got to have was popcorn with boysenberry butter. Now, you were a little hesitant about this one. You didn't know if you wanted it. And I suggested getting it because you love popcorn.
Yeah, well, I didn't know what I was getting into, because I saw them, making it, and, they put the popcorn in the cup, and then they just literally poured with, a ladle.
Ladle, yeah, over the top. And there's chunks of berries inside of the butter.
Literally, I think they just had a vat of butter with, boysenberries stewing in it. I think that's what it looked like. So it's like fresh boysenberries,
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And it's good. Not every piece of popcorn has boysenberry on it because of the way they just ladle it over it. But if you shake it up, it'll mix in there, and it's a good flavor.
Yeah, it was actually quite nice. It made it a little bit sweeter, a little bit more savory, but it wasn't sweet to the point of kettle corn.
Yeah.
It was just a hint of sweetness, which was actually quite nice.
Yeah.
And what we ended up doing was we actually got the souvenir bucket, which is essentially Snoopy's head.
It's a Snoopy
and
head.
they put in the popcorn where his brains go. And
it reminded me a little of the Indiana Jones monkey scene.
Chilled monkey brains.
Yeah, it reminded me a little of that. Weirded me out when I thought about that. But it's a cute bucket.
You are not eating? I had eels for lunch. No, but the one thing that's actually kind of nice is if you're using your tasting card and you don't want to get it in the actual cardboard cup thing that they have, and you get this instead. You get a pretty good discount on it. So I think we only paid like $5 or $6 for that because we were using our tasting card.
Yeah.
So a little tip for you guys if you want to get the Snoopy souvenir bucket. After that, I had the Boysenberry Barbecue Carne Asada pizza, which actually, to me, is probably the best version of the pizza that they've had at all these tasting events.
Yeah.
They've had different versions, different kind of things on top, pesto and things like that. This is hands down my favorite one that they've had.
I have to agree. Like, and I don't even eat carne asada. I don't eat red meat, but I had a couple bites. I actually probably have had more red meat today. Like just
you definitely had more
time.
red meat. Yeah.
But it was so good. Like the boysenberry barbecue sauce base of the pizza was like so good. And I told Gabe, like, I'm a marinara purist, you know, like my pizza better have red sauce on it or I'm not eating it. Like, but this was so good.
Marinara purist is written on her ID.
It is.
Her California ID.
It is.
Nicole Montoya.
Yeah, it's under
marinara purist.
It doesn't say my weight. It just says marinara purist.
It says marinara purist.
That's an option, folks. Go ask your DMV.
And on location where you live, it says Papa John's. Or like Domino's or something.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. It's actually quite good. Like I was actually quite surprised. So what's the rating for the popcorn for you?
Popcorn was good, but
I'd say solid 6 or 7.
6. I was gonna say like 6. Yeah.
Out of 10 boysenberries.
6 boysenberries, because it is just popcorn. You know, it's popcorn with a twist. You know.
And it got soggy near the end.
It did get soggy in some spots where the butter pooled. But overall it was a tasty snack.
Tasty treat.
And honestly, like a lot of the food here is so heavy that if you still have a taste on your tasting card and you need something just light, like this is a good option.
It is actually a really, really good option.
Yeah.
For me, when it comes to the pizza, I would say that's a solid 7 or 8 out of 10 boysenberries.
Yeah.
It was really good. But overall, I mean, it's theme park pizza, so there's a lot of crust and things like that.
But it's a good crust.
But it is a pretty good crust. It isn't like tough. It actually is quite soft.
Yeah.
So, and the last thing we had, you had something else.
The champagne float with boysenberry soft serve in it. And I know that sounds kind of weird.
It's a unique offering.
But it was really good. You know, it was everything a float should be. It's bubbly, you know, mixed with the ice cream or soft serve.
The boysenberry soft serve,
and I love float ice cream because it gets like that crust on it, you know.
Like a crystal crust of ice.
Yeah, and I just love that. It's like my favorite. So it was tasty. It was alcoholic, you know, so hey, win-win. It was good.
Nikki has her alcohol. She's a happy girl. So that's really all it really comes down to.
I had champagne twice today. I'm good.
What would you rate it, though?
I would rate it, as far as floats go, I don't know. I mean, there are better floats.
Is it floating around 6 or 7?
It's floating around 6 or 7. Yes, it is. It's like 6.5 boysenberries.
6.5 boysenberries?
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. And some other things that we haven't had a chance to talk about, we want to talk about a little bit, is some of the entertainment and decorations and things like that. All the decorations around the park are really springtime decorations. Obviously, purple is the predominant color.
Yep.
But there's lots of pinks and reds and pastel colors all around. And in Camp Snoopy, they have a lot of very, very, very large Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
And like bunnies and like characters.
And over where the Huff and Puff is, they have giant carrots that are buried in the ground with those little cartoon character bunnies everywhere. So there's no Kevin or Kelvin from Taste of Halloween or Taste of Merry Farm, but we have these bunnies that are there. And there's actually a really nice photo op that normally is a photo op all the time for every single season.
Yeah.
But it's a giant chocolate bunny
Yep.
in the middle, which is actually quite cute.
And then Snoopy is over on the Camp Snoopy stage dressed as the Easter Beagle, you know, for a photo op. And he's on the stage and you take the photo down below. So that's there. And I don't know, Snoopy's just adorable. So I figured I should say that.
I mean, how could you not like that?
Yeah, it's so cute.
It's really adorable. Also, little tip, if you're interested, for seating, they opened up the upstairs section of what is that called? The Wilderness Bear restaurant, like that first restaurant in Camp Snoopy.
Yeah.
That's on the right hand side. There's an upstairs section, And that's all completely open, so you could actually sit up there and have a really nice view of Camp Snoopy.
Yeah.
So we went up there just to get a view and a picture, and it was quite nice. There was a nice breeze going too, so especially because it was a little hot today, you get that nice breeze going through.
Perfect.
It was a perfect mix.
Uh-huh.
So, and you can hear the music, the really nice, Peanuts music playing up there as well.
Yes.
Then when it comes to entertainment, with the pandemic and kind of ruining the interaction, like personal interaction with a lot of people, they have the similar stuff that they've had at every other event where a lot of people are on rooftops or out of windows.
Or on stages,
separated, things like that. So, you have the deputy mayor of Calico at the entrance of the park, welcoming everybody
on a balcony,
in, telling them what foods that they should try and things like that. One of my favorites was over in Boardwalk. It was the Knott radio hosts, and they were two actors who were up there hosting a radio show, and they were extremely punny.
It was so funny.
And you could hear it all throughout Boardwalk.
Yeah.
So they're piping it into every single speaker. And what's funny is that their banter and their jokes and the dialogue they had, one, were really funny, but two, it lent a little bit of energy to the entire area. Instead of it just kind of just playing music constantly, there's this kind of almost backstory happening with what's happening in the, quote, news or sports or anything else. And then they would play old school rock and roll music, in between kind of their banter. And I really liked that. It really changed the environment of Boardwalk for me in a good way.
Yeah, no, it made it a fun place to be. And then there was also what's the main stage called?
The Calico stage,
Calico
I think.
Mine Stage?
The Calico Mine Stage, with Crazy Kirk and the Hillbillies.
Yeah, Crazy Kirk and the Hillbillies
Is that
were over
who it
there.
was? Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to be wrong.
No, it's Crazy Kirk and the
Okay.
Hillbillies.
Yeah, well, they're socially distanced playing music.
Yeah.
So they're actually up there instead of it being a video like it was in previous events.
Yeah. And then there was a magician on the town square little stage. I forgot what that's called.
Well, he was like a snake oil salesman on stage, basically trying to get people to buy the Boysenberry elixir. And obviously you could buy the Boysenberry elixir inside the stores, and it's like a syrup, Boysenberry syrup.
Yeah.
And you can put it in things. But he's selling it as if it were like this cure-all thing.
Tonic
to fix
I
all
thought he was a
ailments.
magician.
Well, because he was magically making bottles disappear over it and making the elixir show up and stuff like that.
Got it.
Like kind of trying to say like, oh, it's everywhere, it's so great, oh my
Okay.
God, buy it. And that was obviously really fun. And there's a lot of those little moments kind of that pop up that aren't necessarily listed.
Yeah. Oh, and then another fun thing that they're doing is an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah. There's an Easter egg hunt where
It's all virtual, like QR codes.
Yeah, so when you walk in the park, they give you the little ticket, and it basically says, scan this QR code. It takes you to a page, and it says you need to find all the eggs to help save Easter, and then the last egg is the Easter Bunny, and you get to meet him.
Yeah, so the first QR code on the paper gives you a hint to where the first egg is, and you go there, and then there's another egg with a QR code, and that gives you a hint to the next one.
Subsequent hint,
Yeah, so it's like a little scavenger hunt like that, and I've seen kids all day running up oh, I found one, and they're so excited. So I think it's a great thing to keep kids interacted throughout the day at an event that's not necessarily, the most fun for kids because it's just eating. There's no rides. There's not crazy interactive entertainment. So I think it's a great idea and a great thing that Knott's did.
It's a pretty ingenious way in order to kind of incorporate a activity while still maintaining, social distancing and making sure there's not things that kids have to touch all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that I did like about Knott's before anything happened was that it was a place where kids could come and interact and learn.
Yeah.
And at least in this circumstance, it's still something for kids to do, and I appreciate that they even went through the process of creating the QR codes because that's so smart. I actually think that's something that might stick around.
Yeah.
Even after the pandemic, because I think a lot of what's happening now is it's forcing them to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And it might help create a lot of new things after all this is said and done, which makes me really excited.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of ingenious, creative ideas come out of those situations where you have to turn everything on its head and think of it differently.
Yeah.
That happens quite often. So that was really, really cool. Let's see, what else was there?
I think that's pretty much it.
That it?
I think so.
Oh, yeah, there's one more. The one more interactive thing that I saw, there was a woman in a window in Ghost Town, and she would yell down at everybody who was kind of like walking by and kind of interacting with them, and she was baking, and she was asking for ingredients to put into her bake. You know, kids would yell, at least when we were there, the kids like, purple, and she's like, that's not something, but it's a color. Okay, let's do it. And she would put purple in. Someone's like, what else should I put? And the kid's like, potato. She goes, another P word, purple and potatoes, run in potatoes. And she mixes it up and she goes to bake it and it explodes and smoke shoots out of the window with lights. And she's like, oh my goodness, that wasn't good. It's just a really silly, fun, kind of spur of the moment entertainment piece that kind of just pops out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that's what I love the most.
Yeah, I think that's such a great thing. And Knott's has always been good at that. And this just shows that, like, what they've always been doing, like with interacting with guests and all that stuff, that they were able to, like, switch that into a COVID-friendly version, but still have it and keep that charm. And I'm so happy they did that.
Yeah, that's actually quite a apt way of describing it. It's charming.
Yeah.
All of their interactions and all of their characters and the dialogue that they're given and the way that they're written is so charming.
Yeah.
And it works on so many levels, and I love Knott's for that kind of stuff. So if you do have a chance to kind of stop and, quote, smell the roses and enjoy, like, some of these things, I highly suggest you do, because the writing is just very well done and they're actually quite funny.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy all those things too. So I think from here on out, we don't really have anything particular that we're going to eat.
No, well, we're going to get Dippin' Dots.
We're going to get the Boysenberry Dippin' Dots.
And I think that might be it.
Yeah.
Because then I think we need to stop for a while.
We're less walking up around the park and more rolling around the park.
And waddling at this point.
We're like Violet from Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you know? You know, we're rolling around at this point, so we're pretty full, but, you know, we're just trying to enjoy the park as it is right now, because, you know, we were sitting down and boardwalking, and we were just appreciating the environment.
Yeah. We're just happy to be back in a park. Yeah.
Exactly. Just happy to be back and soak in the people watching and the music, and there was a nice breeze. Just everything about it was just something that we haven't had in a long time. No, we've had other tasting events, but this one in particular felt a bit different, and I just enjoyed that. So I think we'll enjoy a bit of that a bit more through the evening, but we're probably not going to stay until closing. But, you know, next time you hear us, we'll be back in our hotel room, and we'll kind of sum up our feelings on the event and how we feel about it.
Yep.
So we'll talk to you later. So it is the next day. We were completely conked out as soon as we got back to the hotel room. There was like no way we were going to record.
Yeah, we were tired. We had slight boysenberry tummy aches, but it was worth it.
It was boysenberry overdoses.
A little
is
bit.
Really what it was. So the only things that we haven't discussed is the Boysenberry Dippin' Dots that we had near the end of the night.
Yeah.
Now, my opinion actually has changed on this. So when we first had them, we did like an Instagram reaction, and I enjoyed them. I thought they were good.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more I thought about it, the more I think, I don't think I liked them.
For me, it wasn't a matter of not liking them. Like, they were good. The flavor was good. You know, it was like...
It was very boysenberry.
It was very boysenberry. It was like true boysenberry with like a little bit of tartness and a little bit of sweetness. It wasn't like just super sweet. And so it wasn't bad. It's not my preferred flavor of ice cream. I like more of like, you know, chocolate chip. You know, I don't like the fruity flavors of ice cream. So for me, it's just not my personal preference, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, for me, like, I like fruit-flavored ice creams. I don't mind them. I actually like them. But for me, I think what threw me off is the tartness and not a high level of sweetness that you would assume would come with ice cream. And I think that really threw me off because it almost tasted like sherbet more than it would ice cream. That's not a bad thing because I like sherbet. It's just...
Not what you were expecting.
Not what I was expecting, and it threw me off. And the more I ate of it, the more of those kinds of flavors kind of came forward. Mm-hmm. So I would skip on them again and rather spend my tastings elsewhere.
Yeah.
But if it's something you guys are really interested in and really excited about, I suggest trying it just so you could get it out of the way. But other than that, you know, that was really the last thing we had during the night when we were there, other than, you know, walking around and just kind of experiencing the park at night, which it's really pretty at night, and I would highly suggest trying to stay around and just see the really pretty lighting. Camp Snoopy is absolutely gorgeous at night.
Oh yeah, all the projections on the rocks and like just all the fun lighting.
Yeah, there was a lot of really fun lighting in there, from like the projections on the ground and the rocks and stuff like that, like you said. So highly suggest going to check that out. I think it's kind of a very it's a must do for me on my list of things for this event if you're going to be going, because it just puts you in that environment. And it's weird because it happens at night.
Yeah,
You have to wait all day.
Yeah, Boardwalk was also super pretty.
Yeah, Boardwalk was also very pretty. You have and I think we've talked about that on previous episodes, about the way Boardwalk is kind of decorated now for most events, and kind of during normal hours at this point, is the stringed lighting kind of going over the midway and really kind of bringing that place to life.
Yeah.
And it's really, really cool. Even without having, hang time going, it still was really cool to walk through there. And they have hang time lit up and everything.
Yeah.
So really, really pretty. And then we saw Crazy Kirk and the Hillbillies playing live, socially distanced away from each other and the crowd, over at the Calico Mine stage, which was
fun.
really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So they were really fun. They were getting the crowd whipped up in a flurry of craziness. People were rocking out with them. So that was really cool. And then, of course, Ghost Town. Ghost Town is really pretty at night with all the lights that they have going on there, too. So nighttime is really a kind of a different place when it comes to this event. Like any other Knott's event, nighttime, it kind of just turns into a different monster. No pun intended there.
Yeah.
Normally people, when they think of Knott's Berry Farm at nighttime, most of the time the thing that comes to their head is Scary Farm or something Halloween related. But a lot of the time, they really put a lot of focus into these lighting packages to really make the nighttime Knott's Berry Farm feel very different. And I think it works incredibly well.
Oh, definitely.
So we had a really good time at this year's tasting event. Obviously it's not a full-on Boysenberry Festival, but we had
close as we could get.
Exactly. We had a really good time at the tasting event for Taste of Boysenberry Festival. Now, I think as we mentioned before, you got to prepare for stupid, because there's going to be people that are not going to listen to the rules and regulations 100% of the time. So you just got to keep your head on a swivel and make sure that you're nowhere near these people.
Mm-hmm.
But, Knott's does a pretty dang good job of making sure that people are listening. I even saw a guy monitoring the planters in Boardwalk to make sure people weren't sitting on the ones that they weren't supposed to sit on.
Yeah.
I do think that sometimes there is a bit of consistency issues, when it comes to kind of the rule following and rule administering and things like that.
Definitely, yeah, because the no sitting on the planters was enforced in Boardwalk, and then you go over to Ghost Town and every planter has people sitting on it. So it's inconsistent, and that's kind of bad for people I did it over there, why can't I do it over here? And then they keep doing it, so
it's a vicious cycle, because I understand why Knott's employees aren't always going to do something about it, because I even spoke to somebody at the supermarket where somebody came in without a mask, and she goes, I don't get paid enough to deal with this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume that people who don't address these issues are probably like, I don't want to get screamed at, I don't want to get yelled at.
Leave that for management.
Yeah. That seems like a really difficult situation to kind of be putting yourself into. And it's a lot to ask of employees at times.
Yeah.
So, I'm not completely upset or mad about the inconsistency of, the rules at certain times. But I do think that there is something to be said about that. And at least people are trying.
Yeah.
I see employees trying.
Yeah, people are
out of their
trying.
way
And for the most
stuff.
part, all the guests are complying. It's just some,
Yeah.
airheaded people who
There's just a few knuckleheads.
are walking around pulling their mask down below their chin to drink their beer. And I saw that a lot yesterday, but you just keep your distance and do your best. People are going to be stupid. You just have to try to avoid those people. So, you can't control everybody. You can only try to be as safe as possible. And I think we succeeded in that yesterday.
I think so as well. I think we were very careful in where we chose to sit and record, where we ate and things like that, even where we walked. If we felt uncomfortable in any situation, we just would turn around, which I think happened once.
Yeah. Once inside, once outside. Because when we left, it was everybody was leaving. So we kind of just had to go a different route to avoid people.
Yeah, pretty much. We just went across the street.
Yeah.
So But other than that, I think Knott's still does probably one of the best jobs in terms of keeping people aware of the rules and regulations, as well as keeping people accountable, and making sure that they're following them. I still think they do a very good job. Obviously, they don't have eyes everywhere, so it's not like they can consistently make sure that people are listening at 100% of the time. So I understand that. But I still do think that they do an incredible job, and they try to cover all their bases at all times. So really, really happy to have gone to this event, and really, really happy to have eaten so much food to the point where I'm feeling it today.
Yes.
So, but hopefully all of you guys enjoyed this week's bonus episode. Definitely a fun on-site location type episode for you guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave us a rating or review on iTunes. It always helps us out. It's a free way of supporting the show, and it helps us go higher in the standings and makes it easier for everyone to find us and enjoy us like you are right now. If you haven't already, make sure you head on over to the different social media platforms that we're on. You can follow us at Theme Park Duo on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We actually put all this fun podcasty stuff on YouTube as well. So if that is your location of choice, all of our catalog of stuff is there, as well as some fun videos we've done in the past. So make sure to check that out. And then also, we have a new shirt in our TeePublic site, which the link for that is in the description of this episode. It is a spooky-inspired Theme Park Duo t-shirt with some skulls on it and the show name and things. So
it's really fun.
Yeah, I actually bought it first to make sure it was good before selling it to the public. Because I don't want to put out a shirt for everyone to buy that turns out to be crap.
Did you post a picture of it?
I did.
Yeah.
I put it on Twitter.
Go find the picture on Twitter.
Yeah, Nikki's holding it up. That's the photo. Nikki's holding it up.
Oh, yeah, I'm peeking over it.
Yeah, you're peeking over it. But yeah, no, go check that out if you have a chance. And then also, if you guys want to reach out and tell us about a topic you want to hear about, questions, comments, concerns, you can always reach us at
themeparkduo@gmail.com.
Yes, and thank you again for tuning in to this week's bonus episode. And as always,
there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. See ya.
Thanks for riding with the Theme Park Duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.